The smell of spring. Oh, that's actually goose shit. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a different kind of planter. We're going to be using some leftover material I have from a project I recently finished up and some mahogany I found in the backyard along with my wife. So stick around. We have some wood from a desk that's over here, and it's mahogany. Look at this stuff. Let's get to taking it apart. Ah,
really?
I can edit that out. Look at that piece of mahogany right there. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And not only will we be building in this video, I'll also give you a glimpse and give you a short story of my YouTube journey, along with some special appearances from some mighty special folks. Rock stars, welcome to the shop. You're watching Bearded Viking Woodworks, and today's video is sponsored by nobody. Today, we're going to be making a planter box, but not your typical planter box. You know me, I like to switch things up and put spin on them. Nice shot. So first things first, I got to get these things cleaned up and jointed and planed, flattened, and then we can start. I didn't always have the tools to get started in woodworking, and like many others, in the beginning I had to borrow or get my hands on anything I could. Woodworking to me is like a therapist would be to his patient, helping relieve with the daily noise and the daily stresses of our everyday lives. Right then, so now that our mahogany is all cleaned up and ready to go, we're just going to set it to the side because this will be the last thing that we work with. So that leaves us with the next step, which is by far the most frustrating part of this project, and that's breaking apart pallets. Now, I don't have a pallet buster or a jack to get these off with, so we're going to take our axe and give it a whack. Or not. One of my favorite benefits of becoming a content creator is the fact that there is a solid community of others who may be willing to help. And that brings us to Jesper Makes, a pallet buster extraordinaire. And with the internet at my fingertips, I can reach him, even though he's in an entirely different time zone. So now we just wait. So we'll just catch up on some sanding and watch some Saturday cartoons. Don't do it, don't do it. Oh, you did it. Yeah, I still watch and enjoy my Saturday cartoons. It's something like a pastime. Having the luxury of getting in touch with Jesper, who's all the way across the ocean, is something like an advantage, you could say. So I sent him a photo of the pallet that I'm trying to bust apart in hopes that he would have some kind of secret up his sleeve. Well, it turns out we're just going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is fine by me. So let's put our big boy pants on and get to work. Sometimes we get spoiled with all the new technologies around the world and innovations, but sometimes the best tool for the job is a hammer and a pry bar. So, although there's no real secret to busting apart pallets the easy way, I still appreciate Jesper reaching back out and helping me along with the project. Thanks, Jesper. Whew, guys, that was a workout. Now, we're going to take and square up each end of each piece, find our center, and cut that down at the miter box. And that will determine what the length of our slats for the planter will be. So meet me at the miter box. So after we square up both edges of each side of the pieces, our length is going to be cut at 20 inches for each slat. The beautiful thing about this project is you can literally build this out of 3 fence pickets, or in this case, 1 pallet. Once we get those squared up, we'll go ahead and cut them all down to 20 inches. This can be achieved without a table saw, so no worries. I want to take and just clean up some of the rougher edges, and some of these aren't the same size, so we're going to get them ripped down to the same size at 3 1/4. So we're going to slap on the Darth Vader mask. Get these things cut to size and start building. We've got 20 of them cut to 20 inches in length and ripped down to 3 1/4. That'll be our slats. Moving on to our frames that our slats are going to nail to. I've got 4 pieces that are going to give me each of my legs. And then I've got enough with these 2 pieces for my cross members. And these are 24 inches in length. And they will all be ripped down to 1 5/8 inches. For the frame of my planter, I'm going to be using the mahogany I found out in the backyard. But remember, this can be built with 3 fence pickets at 8 foot. 1 fence picket being for the frame. Alright gang, so now that we got all of those pieces ripped down, this is how you want your layout to look. So I put a slight taper on my frames, just a 3-degree taper. So your miter will be a 3-degree miter, and you're going to need 4 pieces, 4 tops at long to long of the 3-degree miter at 13 inches, 4 pieces long to long at 10 3/4 with that 3-degree miter, and all 8 of your legs will be long to short 22 inches. So the long point will be on the outside here to your short point here, 22 inches on all 8 legs. I'm going to get these cut and I'll meet you back here for assembly. When cutting your legs and your inside pieces, it's good to set up a stop block. That way you can run through these cuts pretty quick. Alright gang, so here we are with all of our pieces. I've got my bottom pieces, which are the shorter ones. My longer pieces, which are the top ones. And I've got all of my legs cut. You should have 4 bottoms, 4 tops, and 8 legs all together. To assemble these, we're going to be doing pocket screws in each side of our tops and bottoms. And we're going to do 2 pocket holes per side. To achieve these pocket screws, I've got a little portable Craig jig. I can't quite afford the big setup, but that's okay. And my stock on my mahogany is at 3/4. Now, your fence picket most likely will be around 5/8, but sometimes they skimp that and it's like 7/16. So you may want to set your bearing at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to set mine at 3/4 because that's what size stock I have. And then make sure your settings on your jig are set to the same exact width. There they are. Old geese. Now for the jig, we're just going to take and rest the jig up against our piece. And I don't want my holes this close to the edge, so I'll just have to do one at a time. And I'll clamp my jig to my piece, assuring that I'm flush down here. And I'm going to drill one hole at a time, and you want them to be close to the center, but far enough apart to where they're actually holding both sides. So once you get your jig set and your bearing set where you need it, go ahead and drill out these holes. And make sure your jig is on the back side of the piece. That way your face doesn't get messed up. So keep that in mind. Once you drill that first hole, just go ahead and move your jig over until you like where that second hole is, and then lock this in place. And that's how your hole should look. Now, if you want to, after you drill your pocket holes, if you're using fence pickets, a good way to prevent splitting is taking a 1/16 inch or maybe even an 1/8 inch bit, and then just pilot hole right where your screw's gonna go once you get your piece where it lines up with the other piece. And that may help prevent it. Or just use a smaller screw. You may want to use an inch screw if you're using 1/2 inch stock. I'm gonna go ahead and finish drilling these holes out, and I'll meet you back here. So, similar to borrowing tools to get started woodworking, most of us can't afford the big jig that's set up like a table, but this little handy dandy pocket hole jig is perfect and affordable. So there is a way. And before we do any kind of assembly, you want to add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. What I've got here is some number 6 1.25 inch screws, and we're just going to use these to fasten this together. You don't have to use pocket screws, so you can use normal screws. I've already got this side fastened, so we're going to go ahead with this side, and you just want to make sure it's flush to the top and make sure it's a tight joint and clamp it in place. Once you feel like you have it flush and clamped in place, just go ahead and add your screw. And we'll add one more. Booyah! So what I got here is my square, and I've got it set at 3/4 because we're going to be going 3/4 from the bottom, and you want to just butt your piece at the bottom here and let it stay square to your bottom, and then just bring your piece down until it touches. And you can clamp this if you want, but I'm just going to run a screw right through, and then I will bring this square over here and do the same thing. Just butt the bottom of my piece, bring it in, get my clamp, and I'll clamp this in place. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out and pilot this for my screws, just because I don't want to risk any splitting with this mahogany because it's a hardwood. And then we'll add our 2 screws. And there we have our face. And it's nice and flush, and this is going to work out great. So we'll jump back on this tomorrow, but I'll see you in about 10 seconds for y'all, but for me it'll be the next day. And tomorrow I'm expecting something special. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Oh, Lord have mercy. Whew, that's that high test. Well, while we await the arrival of something incredibly, crazily awesome, we're just going to go ahead and slap our other frames together, and we might even get this piece finished up before it arrives. So let's get back to it. Now, I want to keep the 2 pieces that I ripped out of each piece together. So this darker piece will be with this darker piece. So you need to make sure, if you have pieces that are going to be out of the same piece, you want to have them adjoining on each opposite side of your face frames. So just keep that in mind. Now, being that we ripped all of our legs to 1 5/8", you're gonna have a wider side on one of your sides. So this side will be 3/4 inches wider than this side, which is fine. I could have ripped these down 3/4 less and then had the same size, but I'm not that picky about it. So, but if you are, you may want to keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and slap these together, and I'll meet y'all back here in just a little bit. Well, since starting my content journey on YouTube last May, here we are, 10 months in, and I gotta tell you, the amount of followers and the support from all of my members is just mind-blowing. I have hopes that maybe one day soon YouTube will become my main source of income, but for now, I'll just keep building those custom homes and dreaming of that day. And just an FYI, you'll never have to worry about me selling out. Many companies reach out to me asking for this and telling me I'm going to do this for that. And a lot of those have been turned down due to their demands, as in, you'll say this and you'll do that. And some I've actually decided to work with, as in, they met my demands. I'll do this and I'll say that, while keeping it honest. But that's neither here nor there. Next step, we're going to nail in our slats. You're going to want to find your center of the very top and the very bottom, as we're going to be starting each slat to the left of that center mark and to the right of that center mark. We're just using 4 slats, as 5 isn't necessary. And we're just using some 1-inch brad nails to nail these in place, flush to the very top. Now there's going to be an 1/8 inch gap in between each slat, and we're just using our square to get that 1/8 inch. Now on our 2 sides, we're going to have to wind up cutting off a little angle at the very bottom. That way our opposing face frame has enough room to sit flush with the other face frame. But this isn't a big deal. And unfortunately, I lost my footage where I started nailing this together. But basically, pretty simple. All I did was glue up one edge, clamp it together when I got it flush with each other, and just added some 1.5 inch brad nails to the face here. And those little holes will cover up pretty easily. I was going to do pocket screws. However, the slats will prevent me from being able to get my pocket screw set right. So we just went with this route, which perfectly okay. So I'm actually about to nail in my last face frame here. So we'll get it turned around, and we'll get this side clamped first. And we'll go ahead and pop some nails in it. And you can add screws to this if you want to, but glue and some brad nails will hold just fine. Alright gang, how about that? That's super cool. So we'll finish letting this thing kind of set up with the glue before we move it around too much. And then we'll go ahead with our top frame and install our bottom, and this thing will be wrapped up. So remember, we ripped all of our face frames at 1 5/8". So these two are going to be a little shorter than these two. These two are 17.5 inch wide, and these two are 16.25 inches wide. What I did was I just took some stock and cut 45s on each side, 2 inches bigger than the openings. So we got 18.25 and 19.5. So what we're going to do is just glue this up separately and then set it as a unit and install it that way. So we have our top here glued up, and we're just going to pre-drill with the countersink. That way we can come back and plug the holes. And I'm just putting one screw on two sides, and that should hold this just fine. And we're drilling right into our mahogany. That way we get a nice firm hold on it. And we're adding 2-inch screws. That is beautiful. We're just gonna flip this over and add 2 more slats to the bottom. We'll just add 2 because this is going to be holding potted plants. So all we need is 2 of our pallet slats going right across the bottom. And we'll add some glue and a couple brad nails, and that should be just fine. And we'll add a dab of glue. And there we have it. I love it. Oh, that's him. Hello? This is him. That's perfect. Awesome. I'll wait outside. Thanks. Oh my God, that's him. Finally, set to receive my brand new tool for the shop. And today is that day. I've been patiently waiting, but with every tick of the clock, I get more and more anxious. Kicking leaves, sitting down, or just standing up. Rummaging through my toolbox, checking my fluids that I changed 3 days ago, feeling the excitement with every passing vehicle, only to be disappointed when it's just a diesel, until the last vehicle passes. Boom. I'm gonna see if we can get it fit right in this area here. Looking good, Ross. Looking good.
That's all yours, and it's 2 pieces.
Wonderful.
All right,
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, now. Have a good one.
You too, man.
2 pieces, 500 pounds. How do I move this? Let me get the dolly. Of course, my son comes to save the day and show off. What the? I love you. Must be nice being 24. So here we are, 10 months in on my YouTube journey. I've got over 123,000 subscribers and members that are faithful, watching every video, watching every live. And for that I thank you. And I'm happy to have each and every one of you along for the ride. Let's have some fun. And meet me at the bandsaw. Coming down. That thing is extremely heavy. Well, I appreciate you. Wow, rock stars. This bad boy is done. And the wife is gonna love it. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope this brought some inspiration to you. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or recording some content, and you're just not yet sure and you don't want to pull the trigger, stop cheating yourself. Go for it. Don't let nothing hold you back. Be authentic, be original, and be yourself. But most importantly, be consistent, and you'll find success. And remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust. Thanks, guys.